What's up, everybody? We are back, still in a hotel room here in Humboldt County, just kind of waiting out the smoke from all the fires. It's been a train wreck, as you know. But what's not a train wreck is is that a good segue or what? Is the 32 series by Ditko, and this is Volume 1 Overture. By the way, I'm John Delarose, and my website is delarose.com, DELARROZ.com. You can go there, sign up for my newsletter, never miss a video, and get some free comics also. So I recommend you heading over there. The link will be down in the description below. This is a series of 32-page books that Ditko put out in his later years. It starts with The Avenging Mind, goes to Ditko, etc., Ditko Continued, Not Again Ditko, and Ditko Once More. So he had cute little clever titles and cute little covers which kind of amplify his ideas through this. And The Avenging Mind is mostly essays. So you start out with this book and you're going to start reading this and you'll get a couple of and this is what you'll see a lot of here. So Laszlo'S Hammer is a famous story about a guy who thought he was Jesus Christ, so he grabbed his hammer and said he could break anything because he's Jesus Christ. And so Ditko's uses that as an illustration of people destroying things and kind of going crazy in their own arrogance. But most of the essays in The Avenging Mind are actually about Stan Lee. And Stan Lee took a lot of credit for a lot of the stuff at Marvel. He was definitely a showman, a salesman. He's somebody that I follow, of course, and read a lot of Stan Lee work. But Ditko was really upset with the way that Stan Lee framed the fact that, he created these entire universes. When Ditko was like, hey, I really did most of the heavy lifting for Spider-Man, and especially in the later issues, Stan Lee wasn't even communicating with Ditko, so Ditko just made up his own plots, did them all himself. All the famous stuff with, Spider-Man, in that whole... what's that where all the water's coming down and he's trying to lift the heavy stuff off of him to survive. That was all Ditko without much Stan Lee input whatsoever. The dialogue came in afterwards, of course, but Lee took a lot more credit than he might have deserved. Unfortunately, you won't really hear too much about that in the media, and unfortunately history probably won't talk about that too much either. But Ditko gives his messages here about creation, what creation is. He gets really deep into artistic creations and, of course, what a creator is, what Stan Lee's sort of MO is in his, I guess, what do we want to call it, advertising, and how it's sad that comic fans and comic readers really don't care about the truth or anything like that. And I agree, it is sad. So, like I said, he's got some illustrations to go with his essays here, but they're a lot, and this is some heavy reading. So when you get into this, if you do get this volume, and there's 5 volumes of this, so it's pretty neat, nice collected edition of all of his later work. And here's some of his pushing of fans. Force him, it's not fair. Join us, come out. And he's talking about everybody. See the individual hiding behind the door. And they all want him to be part of the mob, and they shoot abuse and spite and resentment at them, and here's a little bit more of that. So property rights, individual rights. So he's showing a lot of I have rights as an artist, and I don't have to be this guy giving interviews and autographs and all that. I don't want to be that. I'm not a celebrity. I'm an artist. I respect him for that. And then he gets into what he's drawing. This is a character called the Hero. There's 2 different designs of the Hero, which I'll kind of get to. This is just the villain. And the villain, if you notice, is pretty neat. And Ditko's really known for his, designs. His designs of characters are very, very out there a lot of the time. They're very creative. And the villain actually has all these words making up his suit. Nihilism, force, faith, aggressor, evil, it's like all these things. And the Hero just has a giant H for hero. He's very simple. He's sticking to his guns versus the very complex villain. It's definitely a commentary on comics ever since the 1980s, really. So that's the first issue of The Avenging Mind. And what's interesting is Robin Snyder actually puts editorial changes, and all these are just typo changes from the original. So all the content was preserved. All of Steve Ditko's vision was preserved. It was just typos that were switched up. Very cool. It's nice to have this, though. I appreciate the diligence in putting that in there. Ditko, etc. gets into this is where the essays end. So you really get to see fandom world. See him, he's really mocking a lot of fandom here, which I agree. I think fandom is a whole mistake, and I could rant about that for a long time. But I really enjoy Ditko's philosophizing in these comics here. And then he gets into some actual comics, and you notice that he does some very quick cartoony style to illustrate things, because he's really trying to illustrate the point of what he's trying to say, more than he is trying to just put these like hyper detailed pieces of meaninglessness. It is very much a slap in the face to the rest of the comic industry, this entire thing, which I also very much appreciate. So we get into the hero here again, and we're showing several different images of the hero, and these are one-page deals until we get to a hero actual storyline. So I don't know what happened before this, if the hero's from anything else or anything like that. Just got this. I think this is the first appearance of all this, and we get some just knockdown, drag-out fights where we show the hero just doing his thing. Very cool. He created another character called the Outline, who's literally just an outline. As you can see, he's invisible, and he kind of watches people degenerate into their evils, and then he kind of manipulates events until they get their due. Now, all of these stories in this issue are continued, and they continue on in, I believe, the next issue or the one after, but that's also in this volume. And we get a story with Mr. A also coming up in this. So here's Mr. A. Yep, so Ditko continues. Mr. A, we get a little bit of a story. We get some partners who are betraying each other, both being evil. And there's just lots of showing what a hero and villain is, what good and evil is, what the use of force is, what the use of self-defense is, what the use of rights are. And it's just good stuff right here. So very enjoyable, very fast to read. It's not your standard comic fare, because these are meant to make you think. They're meant to make you really feel about the philosophy of life. And Mr. A's calling card is really highlighted here. He's got a calling card that it goes from white if it's good to black if it's bad. And when the evil holds it and turns to black, you know that his heart is soured. And he starts making excuses, of course, because that's what they always do. But very good stuff. And we get some, oh no, not again, Ditko. I think this is we get 2 more issues. So, yeah. Why do I have to choose one or the other? So he's making fun of fence sitters here. I do that all the time, too. Gosh, I feel like I would have gotten along very well with this guy. But I wouldn't have asked him for an autograph or to have an interview. It's very clear that he does not want that. Very fun. So we get some good comics through this, and these are all very short comics. You know, some of them are just a couple pages. And look at this. The philosopher in philosophy, according to most comic book fans, right? Comic book fans are such babies, right? I need to know everything. And there's a talk in here about their philosophy, about how they don't even want to spoil anything. So a lot of their offerings, they like give very minimalistic descriptions of what it is. You just got to trust that they're going to put out quality content. I really kind of appreciate that. Now, as a marketer and as a businessman, I know that's a terrible way to go about selling things, but it is, from an artistic perspective, very admirable and good that, you know, you wouldn't want to spoil anything. You wouldn't want to give readers too much of a clue of what's going on, because the reader gets to discover as they read along. And that's cool stuff. So we got our last issue in here, and this is stuff from 2009, it looks like. And yeah, the inquiring mind again. This is people asking. I'm inquiring as to why. So he really didn't seem to like those fan letters asking him why this, why that. You know. But and if they read this work, maybe they wouldn't ask such stupid questions. Who knows? More of the hero, and the hero is really cool. I really like this guy, and I like seeing that in there. And then we get a rational man walking through an irrational world, and we see just look at all the letters and all this, like all the jumbled talk everywhere. All these guys betray, violate others, you know. And he's just trying to navigate his way through this evil world. Very cool stuff. And yeah, conform to me, right? Yep. It's all so true. It's beautiful stuff, and it is more a book of philosophy than it is just a standard comic book. So very enjoyable. I can't wait to read the rest of this 32 series. Glad I got this. These are available if you go to blogspot.ditko.com. Robin Snyder, who is the editor and Ditko's business partner through these, sells these, and they're not unreasonable. I think for this like what's that, 5 times 32 pages is, I can math, 160 pages ish. You can get that. I think they're like $24.95 or something like that. So really good, and of course it supports good independent people and good independent thinkers. So check this out. All right, and this is it. I think the 32 series is most of the last work before Ditko's death, so this is really seeing the man at the end of his life and like what he wanted to say in the last 10 years about the comic industry and the world, and it's just very interesting stuff by one of the greatest creators of all time. Hit that like and subscribe button, everybody. We will be back soon, and I would love to hear comments about this down below. Talk to you soon.